Ladies and gentlemen, you've reached the official YouTube channel and Facebook channel, LinkedIn channel of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, episode 98. I am Charles McKay, your host of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, and welcome to 2024 season. Happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully everybody's new year is off to a great start. We are 3 weeks into January. We are here in Detroit, Michigan, where it's freezing outside. I hope you guys are staying warm. Also, go Lions. Shout out to the Lions and U of M football. So Michigan is football central here. We got some winning teams. So we're excited about that. Well, happy Monday to everyone. Happy MLK Day. If you had your time off, I hope you had time to reflect on the essence of MLK, Martin Luther King Jr., and what he stood for in terms of serving others and a humanitarian and civil rights leader. Hopefully you had time to reflect, or maybe you participated in a program, maybe watched a movie, or maybe relax with your family. Whatever it was, I hope you had a blessed day so far. So thank you and welcome those who are joining us live. If you have questions for our guests, you can join us in the chat and put your question in or comment. Thank you for a new year of episodes where each week, starting today, is the kickoff of our 2024 season. We bring you interviews of difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement here on the Detroit Metro Plug podcast. No other else where you can find positive stories about people who are doing impactful things, contributing to our community, and making a difference. So welcome again to our episode 98 and participating with us. And if you find value in what we're doing, please like, subscribe, support. This helps our channel. Subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook or LinkedIn. Follow our Instagram page, the Detroit Metro Plug podcast. That does help out the algorithm and support programming for this. You know, we're not into the gossip and the mess. We're into positivity. So hopefully you enjoy that. So we have an exciting guest that's going to talk about the impact of mentorship. And by being MLK Day, I want to share this quick clip that kind of ties into our subject today. Martin Luther King, it's a little clip of one of his speeches where he talks about being a servant leader and how he defines greatness. So let me share that with you, and we'll be right back. We'll get right into our interview.
If you want to be important, wonderful. If you want to be recognized, wonderful. If you want to be great, wonderful. But recognize that he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. That's a new definition of greatness. This morning, the thing that I like about it, by giving that definition of greatness, it means that everybody can be great. Because everybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. You don't have to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve. You don't have to know Einstein's theory of relativity to serve. You don't have to know the second theory of thermodynamics in physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace. That's right. Soul generated by love. You can be that servant.
All right. So I think that clip is fitting for our topic, also fitting for MLK Day. Basically greatness is the willingness to serve. And I like what Dr. King Jr. shared about, you don't have to have all these accolades and, your subject verb agreement. I sometimes my subject and verb don't agree all the time when I'm talking, But it's all about the heart and the willingness to serve. And it's great, a great segue to our topic today on mentorship. We're going to talk about what is mentorship, the different types of it, and the impact of serving and investing in the lives of others. So let us welcome our guest. I'm going to share, I'm going to share a clip, a little bit about our guest. She's going to talk a little bit about herself and about her organization that she founded called Empowered Flower Girl, Empowered Flower Girl. So I'm going to share this clip and then I'm going to introduce our guest and we're going to get right into our subject.
Hi there, it's Rasheda Kamaria Williams, Chief Empowering Officer for Empowered Flower Girl. And I believe that if you are a woman watching this video and you want to make a difference in the lives of girls and young women in your school or community, it is no coincidence that you are here. I'm pretty sure that you were guided here. I don't know, maybe by your spirit guides or maybe even your own intuition. But something told you to watch this video, and I'm glad you did. Because many women who have completed Girl World Peace Academy said that they were led here. And I'm so glad that they were, because they are doing some amazing work in their communities. And you can too. I know many of you have launched mentoring programs or girl-powered initiatives in your schools and communities, and that is great. But if you need a little help to grow and expand, Empowered Flower Girl is here for you. We are your good vibe tribe, and we have a network to support you in helping you to reach your full potential as you help girls and young women reach their full potential. I invite you to learn more about our Girl World Peace Academy course and coaching program. You can visit girlworldpeace.com/info, or you can check out that link in the bio to learn more about the program. We want you to join us and just have an amazing experience as you grow your reach. For those of you who already have programs that are doing good, that's great. But you may want more accolades, attention, and awards for the good that you're doing in the world. And we want that for you. So join us, girlworldpeaceacademy.com/info.
All right, so we're going to formally introduce our guest to episode 98. I'm going to give a formal introduction. Quite a bit of accomplishment and accolades. I even put my glasses on to make sure I give full credit. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is an engaging and empathetic speaker, social entrepreneur with a passion for helping youth and youth advocates realize their power. She is author of the Be Empowered, How to Live Above and Beyond Life's Drama, as well as the founder and chief empowering officer for Empowered Flower Girl, a social enterprise on a mission to transform the way young people relate to one another and themselves. Over the past 15 years, our next guest has been laser focused on making a difference in the lives of children, teens, as a youth advocate, girl power enthusiast, and mentoring program consultant. Her passion and advocacy work has earned Empowered Flower Girl numerous accolades, including Kuman's North America's Impact Award, Impact Award. Shashi's Top 10 Companies for Women and Girls. 2019, our next guest was named one of 29 inspirational female entrepreneurs who are positively impacting the world and featured in various magazines, 15 Dynamic Entrepreneurs of 2020. In 2021, Met Her magazine featured our next guest in its top 20 social impact founders. Very other accolades I can read on, but ladies and gentlemen, let us walk into Detroit Metro Plug Podcast, episode 98. Ladies and gentlemen, Rasheda Kamaria Williams.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction.
Yes, thank you for kicking off season 2024 and being episode 98 on our podcast, where we feature difference makers in the Detroit, Metro Detroit community who are doing positive things. And this is a platform where you get to share your story, where we can give you your flowers about and celebrate what you're doing. But I like to get started. When I bring people on this platform, I've been seeing your work for the last couple of years, seeing you doing things in the community, been following you on LinkedIn, Instagram, as well as Facebook, and seeing your impact. There's some people who may not know who you are. So if
Okay.
someone's to ask, who is Rasheda, what would you tell them?
Well, before I get into that, I just want to say one quick thing. And I want to acknowledge you for all that you're doing to make a difference and showcase difference makers. And congratulations on almost 100 episodes. Okay, I see that 98 episodes.
Yes.
Detroit Metro Plug podcast. That is truly, truly something remarkable and something to celebrate. So, congratulations to you. And thank you so much for inviting me to be on the podcast. Um, when people ask me, well, who is Rasheda? What is Rasheda about? I often start with what I do with Empowered Flower Girl. But deep down, and truly what is my passion, is being a mentor. So I'm a mentor turned social entrepreneur who is on a mission to help young people to realize their power. So ultimately, what I want to do is help youth, as well as those who work with youth, to make a positive difference in the world. I know that there's some challenges they may face, from cyberbullying to societal pressure, and adults who work with young people know that there are a number of challenges um, that they may encounter, right, in working with youth. But I want to empower them to live above those challenges so that they can make an impact in the world. So really, who I am is an advocate for youth and youth advocates.
Awesome. So you are an advocate and advocate for youth advocates. That's awesome.
That's right. Because
I,
they need support too. The people who work with youth need just as much support as the youth themselves.
now I want to get, if you don't mind, I want to begin this conversation kind of
Yeah.
creating a backstory, kind of a little bit about your background that you feel comfortable sharing, just so people can kind of get a kind of know more about who you are and what you're about. So, obviously, you develop a passion for serving and helping people and mentorship. But where did this journey begin? Was it as a child, teenager, or something else?
Actually, if we look all the way back, it did kind of start in my childhood. I have long been a person who, as Dr. King said, is into servant leadership, serving others, uplifting, and supporting others. And I can remember back in, what was that, fourth or fifth grade? In fact, yes, it was fifth grade where I had an opportunity to mentor other youth. There were there was a classroom of young men who were part of the special education program, and they needed mentors. So myself and two of my other classmates, we would volunteer as peer mentors or tutors for the young men, and that was truly a rewarding experience. Not only that I get to support my peers, support fellow students, but it also helped me in developing some of those leadership skills, as well as being able to volunteer and give back within my school, but also that inspired me to start giving back in my community. So when I really think about it, it started early. The seeds were planted when I was younger, and then as time progressed, I started volunteering in high school. My aunt got me involved in so many different programs, youth leadership programs. I had an opportunity to travel the United States as a teenager to talk about the dangers of tobacco use and really urging lawmakers to consider tougher legislation on these tobacco companies. So, my friends and I and other youth across the country would go and speak before lawmakers, speak before organizations talking about the dangers of marketing to young people, as well as young people on the consumption of tobacco and alcohol and how it impacts their development. And being in high school and doing this, that really opened my eyes to so much. In fact, it kind of fueled my passion for speaking as well as being involved in the community, and that carried over into college. Really, what motivated me to become a mentor was when I was experiencing some grief and loss issues. And I've told people this story before, and it's even in my book, Be Empowered. I talk about my caregivers who raised me and the impact of their deaths on me. My aunt and uncle raised me. My aunt was diagnosed with cancer when I was in high school, about to graduate. She ended up passing away, and that was a very hard loss for me. I was very close to my aunt, and she was there. She was like a mother to me, raising me, she and her husband. And when I lost her, that really took a toll on me emotionally. And I decided that I wanted to do something to help someone else. Instead of concentrating on all of the grief that I was experiencing, I wanted to take some time to step away and do something to, I don't know, brighten someone else's day. And I saw an ad for an amazing organization in Detroit called Alternatives for Girls. You may have heard of it.
Yes, I have.
And yeah, I started volunteering as a mentor with Alternatives for Girls. And that was the moment. The light bulb lit up, and I was like, wow, I thought that I was coming here to make a difference in the lives of these girls and young women, but in reality, mentoring saved my life. They gave me purpose. I had these young girls, like literally they were elementary school. They were 6 years old, 6 and 7 years old. I started off, I was ambitious. I had three girls that I was mentoring, and I had to be there for them. I had to be someone that they looked up to, and um, that really gave me motivation to keep going, even at times when I wanted to give up, times where things were hard for me. But just coming together and taking the girls to the art museum or to the zoo or doing different activities with them just really helped me. It helped me to move through the grief and loss. And I learned so much from them. So when people ask me about, well, what is your journey?
Right.
It definitely started when I was younger, but uh, in college, I think that's where I found my purpose and my true passion with mentoring.
Okay. So it was in college. So you were in college at the time when you got involved with Alternative for Girls?
Yes, I was a senior in college at Wayne State University. Go Warriors.
Okay. Wayne State. All right. That's
Yeah. So yeah, I was in the journalism program at Wayne State, and I was laser focused on my academics, but at the
okay.
same time, I needed something that would help me get out of this depression, that would help me to again have purpose, and that's what really helped. And after a while, I started to get requests from organizations, including Alternatives for Girls. They wanted me to speak to the other mentors about my experiences. And then some of those mentors said, hey, there's career day happening at our school. Can you come to the school and talk to the girls? And from there, I thought to myself, well, I need to formalize things, right? I'm going and speaking and
Yeah.
facilitating different programs. How do I make this more formal? And I said, I'm going to write a book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought Empowered Flower Girl, actually, it was kind of, uh, it was something that I didn't intend to start, but I was divinely led to start it
Okay.
because I said I was going to write a book to help the girls that I was mentoring, as well as my nieces who were also around the same age at that time. They were just a little bit older, but they were facing some challenges with
Mm.
self-esteem and getting along with classmates and just kind of in that transition from adolescence to adulthood. Those tween years can be real difficult.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something to help the girls I was mentoring as well as my nieces. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to write a book. But I put that on hold because I started getting more requests to come and speak with girls, uh, as well as youth of all backgrounds, regardless of gender. I would go speak in classrooms, and I decided I need to do something formal and formalize things. And Empowered Flower Girl just kind of happened. I was led to do it, and I didn't publish the book for another 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. So you have an interesting journey. I like the fact that you experienced loss and you were dealing with grief, and you found a way to channel that in a positive way. Um, but I want to go back. So if I heard you correctly, when you were a young lady before college, there was some impact. There were some influential people in your life.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
And
Mhm.
okay, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, there were several influential people in my life, from teachers to my relatives who raised me. My aunt and uncle took me in
Mhm.
when I was 12 years old, and I went to live with them, and they had a significant positive impact in my life. But also some teachers when I was in middle school. In fact, they helped me tremendously. That transition from elementary to middle school, that was a little bit challenging, but when I got to seventh grade, man, it was a huge challenge. That's when I experienced a lot of teasing and bullying. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
socially excluded. I was ostracized by some of my classmates, and that experience caused me to kind of shut down a bit,
Hmm.
and I will be frustrated every day going to school, being picked on for the way I talked, the music that I listened to.
And where did you
Just
go to high school, or where did you experience this in?
well, I experienced the bullying in middle school.
Okay.
I grew up on the east side of Detroit, experienced
Okay.
this huge challenge of fitting in. I wasn't even trying to fit in, to be honest. And maybe
Wow.
that's why I became a target of bullying. Like so many young people, you're
Yeah,
just trying to find their way, right? Trying to
yeah, yeah,
find
yeah,
their good vibe tribe.
yeah.
And the kids in my homeroom, I just wasn't meshing with them. Other kids, I found a great connection with, but not the ones in my homeroom. Some of them just didn't like me. They called me white girl. They called me Oreo. They said I talk white.
Right, right,
They thought the music that I listened to, they thought that that was for white people. I listened to all kinds of music, um, from hip hop and R&B to opera and classical music, and
right, 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 right.
I like Nirvana and Aerosmith. But the kids in my class were like, "What are you listening to? That's whack. Uh, get out of here, white girl." And that that had man, let me tell you, that had a huge impact on my self-esteem.
Yeah, I
And
can imagine. Yeah,
yeah, and for a while I was starting to shut down, but I had a teacher who had the class write in our journals. She wanted us to write every day so she could check our sentence structure and grammar. I guess, she wanted to make sure that we were on point with that because she was our English teacher, right?
right, right.
And she told us to be fully expressed. We could talk about anything. We could talk about the music that we like to listen
Yeah,
to the subjects that we liked in school. So I chose to talk about the bullying that I was experiencing.
yeah.
I didn't really think she would read it, but she would write little comments back in my journal telling
Okay.
me to keep at it, don't give up. And then one day she actually pulled me aside after a journal entry, and she talked to me and she said, and I'll never forget these words. And this is
Wow.
something that became the turning point for me, Charles, because this teacher who had all of these students, she singled me out, and she had a conversation with me, and she told me something that I'll never forget. And she said that, for whatever reason, there may be people in life who don't want to see you succeed. It's not because they're bad people. And sometimes it's not necessarily that they don't want to see you succeed. It may be because who you are, your presence, your being may challenge them in ways that they're not ready. She's telling me this is a 7th grader. She says, some people, they just get intimidated by you being that bright, shining light. They may think that it's dimming them instead of them joining you, right? As they say, haters gonna hate.
Right, right.
But she also said that it may be because they are feeling some insecurities about themselves. And she mentioned people throughout history that were teased, bullied, ostracized, and even persecuted for being different, for being a change maker, for being that beacon of light. And she mentioned people like Dr. King. She mentioned people like Mahatma Gandhi and Oprah. She said, think about these people throughout history that people have put down, but they continued to press forward with resilience. And she mentioned that it helped them. It fueled their passion, and it made them want to break through and create even more change. And she even said, well, think about Jesus. She's like, people persecuted Jesus, like literally, right? And when she mentioned all these people, I was like, wow, okay, so those are some big shoes to fill. But at the same time, that made me think about it. Like, these people were doing things to change the world, to make a positive difference, and they still had haters.
Yes.
And that gave me motivation. From there, I started building up my confidence. I was like, look, I'm going to have Dr. King confidence. I'm going to have Rosa Parks confidence. And that helped me. And those are some of the things that I talk to young people that I've mentored over the years about.
Wow.
Yeah. Also telling them, right, the things that we're teased and bullied about or ostracized about, those are things that will eventually make us successful.
Yes.
Right? These kids teased me, said that I was a white girl, called me Oreo and all these things for the way I talked, my speaking voice.
Wow.
And now I get paid to speak.
That's awesome. I can definitely relate. I'm pretty sure those who are viewing can relate to the whole bullying as a teen or as a preteen, especially middle school. Definitely. It's almost like a rites of passage. I can relate to that. Bullying for me, what I experienced was a little bit something different. Due to the financial challenges my parents had, they had issues with substance abuse and stuff like that. So their finances was limited. In the schools I went to, name brand clothes and fashion and stuff like that was very important. And as far as your identity, and by me not having that kind of clothing and stuff like that, I got picked on. I had the imitation Adidas, with the 4 stripes instead of the 3.
Right.
And, I got clowned on wearing Payless.
Right. Had to shop at Payless,
right? Because what happens is if in some schools and maybe in an urban context, and it may be different in other schools, but what I experienced is that people kind of expected you to be the same, more of a monolithic, homogeneous community. So if you listen to different music or you talk different or this and that, you would get seated. Or if you didn't dress as fly as somebody else, then you were picked on. So so that's interesting about the whole bullying thing. And it sounds like those experiences dealing with the grief, the loss of those significant family members, dealing with the bullying in that passage, you channeled that to use that and to help others. And that was great that the 7th grade teacher pulled you aside, and that was a moment of sort of like coaching, mentoring, where she poured her life into you and gave you the attention you needed to go forward.
Yes, it was definitely a life-changing experience. And so many young people today in the 21st century, they need that type of support. This teacher, her name was Mrs. Patty, and she was a little eclectic and different herself. That's why I think that when she pulled me aside and we had those conversations, it really resonated with me, because here she was, this Caucasian lady teaching in a predominantly Black school, and she had a fro. and she was pretty Afrocentric. So it was pretty cool to see her. She would come in with her fro, and she had an accent. She wasn't your typical Caucasian teacher that at that particular school. She was a little different. She stood out herself. She wore African prints, kente cloth.
Right.
So it was really cool having her as a teacher, but having her to really take the time and speak with me one-on-one and listen. Not only did she read those journal entries, she listened to me. And that's what so many young people need. They just need someone to listen. What did Dr. King say? And that accolade, you don't have to have a college degree. Your subject and verb don't have to agree. Just have a big heart. And that's what I tell people. A big heart and a little time can make a world of difference for young people.
Yes, absolutely. So, man, interesting stories. And I want to kind of transition to your time a little bit with Alternative for Girls, and when you started working directly, you sharing your life experience and with other young ladies. Before we go into what is mentorship and the different types. So kind of elaborate, what was your experience with working with and volunteering with Alternative for Girls?
Yeah, it was an incredible experience, and I still support the organization to this day. They do amazing work, and I would say they transform lives, they save lives, and they help young people to the point where those youth want to give back. They have, I don't know, they've set the bar so high for the work that they do with youth, in particular, girls and young women, or those who may identify as female or gender expansive youth. A lot of the programs that they have, from their street outreach to their shelter, is really making an impact. And they've been doing it for so long, I think well over 30 years. But when I joined Alternatives for Girls, again, I was looking for something to do to make an impact in someone else's life, but they really changed my life, the girls that I mentored. And over the years, I probably mentored about five or six, in fact, 6 girls and young women through the program. And at one point, they had a program where they specifically worked with young people who had a parent that was part of the criminal justice system. So if you had a parent who was in jail or prison, they paired you with a mentor. And one of the reasons why I really wanted to be a part of that program is because as a middle school student, in fact, I was in middle school when my father was incarcerated. So you didn't have to have that experience of having an incarcerated parent to be a mentor, but the young people who were in the program, they had an incarcerated parent. So I could definitely relate in that area. And I know that so many young people who have an incarcerated parent need some additional support. And that's one of the reasons why I stayed with Alternatives for Girls for so many years. In fact, I keep in touch with one of my mentees. When we started our mentoring relationship, she was 8. She just celebrated her 23rd birthday over the weekend. And it's just amazing to see her growth and being able to still keep in touch with the family over all of these years. And another mentee, we had a mentoring relationship that lasted about 10 years. So I started mentoring her when she was 5 and mentored her through the program all the way up until she was 15. We lost contact because she and her family moved quite a bit, but then I reconnected with them when she was 19. And it was great. And I keep in touch with her mom through social media. And it's always great to see the progress. She is doing some great things. She's an entrepreneur. She has a great job in human resources, and she's a mom. So it's so heartwarming to see the growth.
Wow. Man, you kind of shared. So you've not only did you have to deal with the adjustments in school, dealing with how you stood out with kind of the different path you were going on and people teasing you for being a little bit different. and
Yeah.
then you share. Just realize I'm assuming the reason why you were with your aunt and uncle was it because of your father's incarceration, or was it something? Okay.
No, so actually, it wasn't necessary because of his incarceration, but there were just some challenges that my mom was facing at the time.
Oh, wow, wow.
Just, there's so many things that my mom was even going through personally at that time,
Yeah, yeah,
and just me not having my father around. So there was some instability there. When I
yeah.
was younger, we moved a lot,
Right,
and
right. Yeah,
so that was a challenge as
yeah,
well. And my aunt and uncle, they had transportation to get me back and forth to school, and it was a more stable environment
yeah,
living
yeah,
with
yeah.
them and having that two parent. They were like my parents. So having that
Right.
two parent household truly made a difference for me. And when they took me in, they were they were about that business. They um, they had so many high expectations for me, but I really do appreciate what
Right.
they poured into me. So they were positive role models as
Yes,
well.
yes, 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 yes.
And I am forever grateful to them. I mean, they
Yes, yes.
they, they changed my life.
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, kind of your journey. People don't realize the little touches, that people can have in their life. Like your seventh grade teacher, your aunt and uncle, creating that environment for you to thrive, just along the way. And I hope for those who are watching, you never know what even small impact you can have, whether you're a teacher, social worker, um, somebody in the church, or whatever religious organization you're a part of. Just those little touches, those little impacts. You never know. That's great. Now, what did you specifically do when you were at Alternatives for Girls? Was it uh, just one-on-one mentoring, group mentoring? You sharing about your life, or what specifically did you do?
That is an excellent question because there are so many different ways that people can get involved in mentoring. When I was with Alternatives for Girls and their mentoring program, it started off with one on one mentoring and then it became group mentoring. So you can have a one on one relationship where you mentor one young person, or sometimes you can have a group of young people that you work with. And sometimes we see that in a lot of the school based programs where you have a group of students that you work with. But with AFG, it was great because I had both experiences from one-on-one to a group setting. And it was really cool because the organization sponsored a lot of our activities. We would go to the amusement parks in the summer, museums, things of that nature. And then they had programming there at their facility where we would have the girls who were involved in the program come to the center, and we would do different activities from arts and crafts to fitness activities, which was really cool. But then also there were times where we would have programming with just the adults, those who were actively involved in the mentoring program, as well as the parents. So what I really loved about what AFG would do is they didn't just have the mentors meeting with the girls, but they also brought the girls' families in as well, which is a huge component, which is actually a very important component, I should say, for mentoring, is having parental involvement. And when you have parents involved, that makes a world of difference because when the parents are engaged, the young people are engaged more as well. And you work as a village to help in that young person's growth and development.
Okay. And that's a good segue because we're going to get into the organization you started. Before we get into that, help our audience to have a better understanding. And how would you explain the different types of mentorships?
Yeah, so there there are so many different ways that you can make a positive impact as a mentor, whether it's a formal or informal type of relationship. And it's fascinating because the word mentor, it actually comes from Greek mythology. It's a
Okay.
Greek word, and usually it means like a wise person or a wise counselor of someone who is typically younger. And that's a traditional type of mentoring relationship. You have an older, wiser person mentoring someone who's younger and more inexperienced.
Right.
But it doesn't always have to be that way. Earlier, I mentioned that there are opportunities for peer mentoring, right? Whether that's youth mentoring other youth who are right around the same age or adults mentoring other adults. whether it's career mentorship. We see that often with adults mentoring someone in the workplace, or coaching or helping someone, a younger relative, or either someone right around the same age who may be making a career transition. But there are different types of mentoring relationships. You mentioned, group mentoring versus one-on-one. That's one way. But also some people may wonder, well, do I have to meet with the young person every day? How often do I have to meet with them? Is it once a week, once a month? Do we have to go and do activities together? Well, because we have all of these advances in technology, I tell people you can meet as often or as little as you want. A lot of organizations, if you're doing a formal mentoring program, meaning you're mentoring through an organization, say for instance, like Alternatives for Girls or Big Brothers, Big Sisters, those type of organizations, they have a formal mentoring program. We go through a curriculum, and you sign up to become a mentor. There's an evaluation process and reporting process, but you can mentor young people and you meet face to face. But there's also e-mentoring. So for those who may not have the time or even the transportation to get to see their mentee in person, you can mentor virtually, like we're doing here, right? We're connecting online through video conferencing. You can video conference a young person. And it doesn't have to be someone in your city or your state or even your country. E-mentoring relationships can have people in the United States mentoring young people in South Africa or parts of Australia, right? So there's a huge opportunity for those who are considering mentoring, who may be thinking about the challenges of time, or they may be thinking of constraints such as, oh, well, how do I get to meet with this person one-on-one? Yes, you meet with them one-on-one, but it doesn't always have to be in person. It could be virtual. So there are so many opportunities for us to give back as mentors. I just tell people it just takes a big heart and a little time and the willingness to undergo a background check to become a mentor. It's all about what you have a passion for. If you want to give back in a way, you can be a mentor. And even if it's not a formal relationship, listen, if there's a kid down the street who can use a positive role model, someone to be there and listen, you can form these type of relationships. I know of young people who've asked adults to be their mentor. When I was younger, my first supervisor, I was 13 years old for my first job. This lady and we still keep in touch. She is amazing. I wrote about her in my book. I talk about her all the time. Even when I'm on stages, I acknowledge Sandra Clemens because she made a huge impact for me in terms of my career development and me having integrity. This woman took me under her wing, and I was like, I want you as my mentor. She was my supervisor at my summer job. I worked for the city of Detroit. She was in the human resources department. She was a director. And at that time I didn't see many women who were directors of entire departments, right? And especially not a woman like her. She's African-American woman who was down to earth. When I say she was cool, I mean, she was funny. She was very conversational. And usually when I dealt with adults in those type of situations, they were a little stuffy, and kind of strict and boring. But she was the opposite of that. She was definitely someone who I was like, I want to be around her. I like her style. And plus, she was given orders. She was the boss, right? But she was a boss with compassion. And I love that about her. And she gave me some valuable lessons on having integrity and taking pride in the work that you do. And I went to visit her just a few years ago. She moved to another state, and I took a road trip to visit her and spent a few days with her. And it was amazing. It was like no time had passed, because when you're mentoring young people and you're having that kind of relationship, you may not be in touch for a few years. You may not see each other for a few years, but the wisdom that you impart, the compassion that you show, it lasts. It lasts over the years, even a lifetime.
Yes, I agree. Awesome. I appreciate you sharing all the different types of mentorship, whether it's the older wise person with the younger person, the group mentoring, as well as peer to peer, and also how using technology to mentor virtually with people. So that's awesome, and just how it impacts them as well as impacts the person who's mentoring. Um, Before we go into, I want to specifically get into what you're doing with Empowered Flower Girl, as well as your book and other things you've got going on. So I want to get into that. Before we jump in that, I want to have a short break, just a quick announcement. We're going to come back, get into the stuff that you're involved in, the projects you're working in currently. So,
Gotcha.
ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking to be a hero, a face of a hero, you're looking to make an impact in the community. Um, in full disclosure, I am an ambassador for a great organization called Black Leaders Detroit. It is an organization that creates a fund to help those who are interested in having businesses in the city of Detroit, as well as nonprofits led by African Americans. So, if you have an interest, or if you are in supporting and developing this fund, I encourage you to become a member. It's open to all people. Anybody can join to become a member. It just takes $1 a week or $52 a year, and you can be a part of this organization that's having great impact. Over, I think I last checked, $1 million to $2 million in resources supporting local nonprofits, businesses in the city of Detroit, underserved, underserviced, small businesses, nonprofits, having a great impact. Let me share this quick video about it. You can learn more about it and how you can be a supporter.
Black Leaders Detroit, they knew that during the pandemic, that Black businesses were going to be left out of any type of funding that the government gave, and they wanted to make sure that they were able to figure out how they could step up and help, because again, this is their community, and they want to make sure that their community is still here when this pandemic is over with. And the only way you can do that is by offering support to your community, and so they stepped up and they did that.
I've been telling everyone I know about Black Leaders Detroit. The things that they're doing is simply amazing. And they're taking care of business for the Black business owners.
It's $1 a week donation to keep this great thing moving. $1 a week keeps it popping. Black Leaders Detroit.
All right, $1 a week keeps this great thing going. $1 a week keeps it popping. $52 a year. They also have programs, no interest loans for Black-led businesses that need financing. No interest loans. So you want to check that program out. Go to blackleadersdetroit.org. All right, so let's get back to our interview. For those who are watching us live and who are joined us, we're here with Rasheda Kamaria Williams, RKW. She's been sharing, just defining what is mentorship, different types of mentorship. She shared a little bit about her background, her journey as a child, some of the challenges she's faced with bullying, challenges in her family, and also dealing with grief. She shared a little bit about her opportunity to serve at Alternatives for Girls, channeling some of the things, channeling some of the things she dealt with as a young adult and investing in the lives of others. Which leads us to Empower Flower Girl. So tell us a little bit about that, the background of that. What is that, and what you're doing with that, what you hope to accomplish with that?
Sure. Well, thank you for the opportunity. I actually started Empower Flower Girl after being a mentor. I think I was almost a decade into my mentoring journey, not quite, but almost a decade into my mentoring journey when I launched Empowered Flower Girl, because I wanted to do something to help the young people that I was mentoring, as well as my nieces, who I mentioned earlier were facing some struggles with self-esteem, as well as some social challenges. And I originally was writing the book, Be Empowered, but I put that on hold because I started getting, the request to talk to groups of youth in schools as well as in communities. And so I formalized things. I got my LLC and I said, you know what, we're going to do this, because when those requests start coming in for me to speak, I wanted to make sure that we had a plan, we had a curriculum, and that I was on purpose and strategic about the work that I was doing. So in 2010, I launched Empowered Flower Girl, which is a social enterprise that is on a mission to transform the way young people relate to one another and themselves. I partner with schools, community organizations, faith-based groups, and other nonprofits to help young people live above challenges they face, from cyberbullying to societal pressure, because our ultimate goal is to help them live above those challenges so that they make a powerful difference in the world. And the work that we've been doing over the past few years is really showcasing and recognizing the work of young change makers, in particular those from 5 to 25 who identify as female, or those who are gender expansive. We want to recognize the work that they're doing in their communities, so we can encourage more young people to give back. I believe that young people have so much power and resilience, and they can truly make a difference in their communities and in the world. I wanted to make sure that they have a platform as well as a place where they could be fully self-expressed. And I made sure to do that in our workshops and programs that we offer. So I really enjoy the work that I do with Empowered Flower Girl, and I have a heart for working with girls and young women, as well as youth of all different backgrounds, right? You don't have to be a girl or a young woman to participate in some of our programs. Although some are gender specific, there are several of them that aren't. And we also work with adults, from educators and parents to those who are leading nonprofits or aspiring to lead nonprofits.
Okay, that is awesome. Man, I'm sharing my screen here. It shows you the website. Uh, what are some of the highlighted programs you offer?
Yeah, so you played a clip earlier of me speaking about our Girl World Peace Academy, which is a program that I absolutely love. It's our course and coaching program for those who want to make an impact and uh, further engage and break down barriers to working with young people, whether that's an educator who is starting a mentoring program or a kindness club in their school, or even a parent who has thought, I want to help the kids in, my child's school or those in my community, and want to start a mentoring program or after school program, and they just need some help and support. Because as I mentioned, adults in our communities who are working to support young people in their growth and development, they need as much help as the young people that they're working with. They need support. They need a good vibe tribe. They need resources and funding to make these things happen. So we coach and we guide them and offer them resources through our Girl World Peace Academy program. And I'm just so filled with, I would say I'm filled with joy, and I'm like a proud parent as those who go through our Girl World Peace Academy, when they complete the course, they're out here kicking butt. I mean, they're doing it big in the community. And I'm so proud of those women who have gone through the program, for the work that they're doing, from those here in the Metro Detroit area to those in the Carolinas, and we have people in Canada who've completed the course. It's been a wonderful experience, and I absolutely love the work that I do. I'm so honored to be able to do what I love and love what I do.
Wow, that's awesome. Talk a little bit about your book. I have kind of showing a slide of your website, and it talks about the empowered.
Yeah, the Be Empowered book. Yeah,
Be Empowered.
believe it or not, I wrote that book back in 2016, and to this day, people will purchase the book and talk about the difference that it has made for them, even as adults. I get quite a few women who have bought the book for their daughters or for their nieces or girls that they work with in the community, and they say, I wish I had this book when I was growing up. And it really just touches my heart to hear them say that. And, I recently had a request for for books for girls conference. So even though I wrote the book in 2016, the content is still very much relevant because young people are still facing those challenges from cyberbullying to societal pressure and just need resources and support for them to move through those challenges they're facing. We're not saying, get over it. We're saying, how do you move through these challenges? Because they come up in life. And what are some ways that you can use your personal power to make a difference for others? Because at the end of the day, that's what we're all about. Each one teaching one and using their gifts and talents to bring joy to others.
Who would you say this book is for? Is it for teen girls, for adults, or for anyone?
Yeah, honestly, when I wrote it, I had teen girls in mind, tween and teen girls in mind from roughly 6th grade all the way through high school. But again, so many adult women have come to me and said that they read it and it gave them hope and encouragement and kind of spoke to their younger selves. And even as mothers, I've gotten a lot of mothers who have read it and said it's also helping them to build more, build more empathetic relationships with their daughters.
Yeah. How do people get copies of your books or that particular book?
Yeah, so you can go on Amazon or our website. There's information about Be Empowered there. You can also contact me directly for those who want to buy the book in bulk. If you have an after school program or mentoring program and you want to buy that, we have special rates for those who buy the book in bulk. So I definitely want to connect with those who are seeking to launch or maybe level up their mentoring programs or who want to start a kindness club or some sort of group in their school or community. Let's connect, let's support one another because we're in this together, and it definitely takes a village to raise young people and support their growth and development. And we have to work together to do it. It's collaboration over competition.
Okay. But for those who are watching, we have, if you want to work directly with our guests for today, for this evening, there's, you can follow her on Instagram, Twitter. Definitely go to the website. I'm not sure. Do you have a email you want to share, or maybe that's probably the best way? Maybe the email. What's the best way?
Yeah, so you can reach me at rkamaria at empoweredflowergirl.com. That's RKAMARIA at empoweredflowergirl.com. And all the contact information is also on the website.
Okay. Any announcements for any upcoming events? Any upcoming? I know you've done a TEDx talk.
Yes, I have. Yep, I did a TEDx talk on mentoring, how mentoring makes a difference. So if you go on YouTube, you could look that up. Mentoring makes a difference. And I talk about how young people of all backgrounds can use a mentor, whether it's young people who are thriving in school and who are on the dean's list to young people who may be experiencing some challenges in school, those who have incarcerated parents, those who are LGBTQ plus. Young people of all backgrounds can use a positive role model. So I definitely encourage you to check that out, as well as to consider becoming a mentor for those adults out there and even youth.
What is you got some people that's on the fence. That's they know they probably should. They've been thinking about it. What are some steps they can take, and what are some things they can do to maybe overcome their fears?
Yeah, excellent question. I would say they can go to our website, empoweredflowergirl.com, and they can learn more about our free mentoring guide. And that information is also available on our social media, our Instagram account, as well as Facebook. You can learn about our free mentoring guide that gives you additional details about how you can utilize resources in your community, how you can find actual mentoring organizations that may fit your particular background. If you have, say, for instance, if you are looking to do more career mentoring, there's organizations that are out there for you. If you want to work with elementary age kids, there's help for you there. You can find those type of organizations. But also the guide is really to help people to learn how they can utilize their knowledge and their listening ear to be able to help young people. So I would definitely recommend it. Each and every person has something to give back. There's a way to coach and empower the next generation, and we all have something to contribute. You don't have to have a curio cabinet full of accolades to do that either. You don't even have to have a degree or be employed. Lots of retirees make amazing mentors. Stay-at-home parents can make amazing mentors. So definitely consider it. And if you need more information, I would definitely say go to mentoring.org. Mentor is a national organization that is dedicated to.
What is that website again?
Sure. Mentoring.org. It's the website for Mentor National. And they're the clearinghouse on all things mentoring. I've worked with Mentor National as well as Mentor Michigan. I've been a mentoring consultant, and we work through them. They look at evidence-based practices in mentoring, as well as how to help mentor organizations to meet these national quality standards. So an excellent resource for anyone, from those who are operating mentoring programs to those who are considering becoming mentors.
Okay. In closing, what would you say is the 3 benefits for you personally being a mentor?
Wow. Wow. Well, I would say that definitely the passion, me being a mentor has helped me really discover my passion and purpose. Also, mentoring is not only for those who are the mentors, right? You are making a powerful difference for someone else, but you're also learning from that person. Those young people or anyone who you're mentoring can also make a difference for you. There's something for us to learn as well. And I would say the final benefit of mentoring for me is definitely the connections that I'm able to make with my mentees, but also with their families as well, and in the community.
Wow, thank you. I really appreciate you sharing just your experience and how mentoring benefited you as a person. Just opening up a little bit about your upbringing, some of the challenges you face with bullying, the challenges with dealing with loss of loved ones, and how you use that to channel and redirect and really help serving others. So I appreciate you and what you're doing in the community.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I definitely appreciate you and want to thank you once again for the
Yeah.
opportunity to connect and, keep doing what you're doing. I'm rooting for you for 100 and 100 more episodes.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you connect with Rasheda Kamaria Williams. Follow her on Instagram, Empowered Flower Girl, Facebook, Empowered Flower Girl. She's on Twitter. Check out the website. If you're interested in she has a mentoring guide. If you want to get involved in the programs she's doing, or if you want to work with her directly, get some more advice in the area of mentorship, definitely encourage you to reach out to her. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us, and to our guest, Rasheda Kamaria Williams, Empowered Flower Girl.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thanks again, and you have a good evening.
You too.
So that concludes episode 98. Thanks again. We'll have information in the description on how you can connect with our guests. If you're watching on a replay, if you're finding value in what we're doing, I definitely encourage you to like and subscribe to our channel. Leave comments. You can support. There's also on our YouTube channel. There's a donate button if you want to support programming like this. So we got a whole line of guests coming up. the month of January and February. So I'm excited about the people that we're going to be sharing with our audience, difference makers, people are doing positive things in the city of Detroit. So that concludes our episode. I'll see you next Monday.